Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm not going to be as loud as usual. Try and make sure the clots stay as they are. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I am your host, Tiffany Daniels. And yes, this morning we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. All right, first, you are going to see the link to this report right there in the description box, alongside the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, and the templates, you know the drill. Sign your name, click on your senator, in the ever-present and self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. Now, folks, when we talk about the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, folks, please use your headphones, all right? Right, now it is 7:51 a.m. in the morning. I took my pain med for today, and let's face it, they gave me fucking hydrocodone. So, if I stumble over any of my words this morning, my apologies in advance, alright? Okay, so let's go to where we left off the other day. Okay, regulations. Public school districts have the lead responsibility for convening the team that makes initial and subsequent every 3 years eligibility determination, develops DIP, and decides upon appropriate placement. Private and educational collaborative programs, however, play a major role in determining whether a proposed placement in a program will meet a student's needs. Excuse me, folks. Private and educational collaborative programs have the responsibility of delivering services on the IEP, assessing and communicating progress, and planning for the student's return to less restrictive environment and or for adult life. They say it's partially implemented. Response required, yes. Okay, Department of Education findings. Let's see what this is. Department of Education findings. The school does not have a complete written policy and procedure for the coordination collaboration with school districts. The following items are missing or incomplete. The school has not described its role in 3-year evaluation, and unsigned IEPs are being utilized for students. There is not a clear policy for obtaining and executing contracts with districts. 2 of the contracts submitted by JRC had expired and were not updated. Additionally, the contracts reviewed did not include all the required elements. D. The school does not have a written policy indicating that it must obtain consent before changing the IEP. Oh, finally, some truth you're going to start spilling here. It's about damn time. Took y'all long enough. The school's policy for progress reports must include that progress reports will be sent as often as for non-disabled peers. The school's policy does not include a description of the requirements for progress reports to document the student's progress toward the annual goal, and if the student's progress is sufficient to enable the student to achieve the annual goal by end of the IEP period. G. The school does not have a written policy for consent for administration of tests outside the evaluation process. Surprise. The school's transition plans do not describe fully the preparations for students transitioning to adulthood, including procedures for vocational activity. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. That's because they don't have any. Let me put it bluntly for you. There is no program in place at the JRC that they are going to be able to put forward to you to to assure that there are true transition age services in place. There is not. At all. At all. There is no policy for a school district monitoring of student progress, and the policy for granting high school diplomas is not consistent with the department requirement. Oh, damn! Well, let's think about it. Considering you have teachers who are not qualified to be teachers, are you really all that surprised? The policy, as written, does not address the conditions for the student to receive a certificate of attendance or who will issue the diploma if the students attain the graduation requirements. I'm glad the rose-colored glasses finally came off on something. 5.4 Training. All staff with school district contact responsibility are trained regarding their particular roles and responsibilities. Rating implemented, response required, no. Okay, let's go back, because you're contradicting yourself here. If you are saying that their education is insufficient to meet state standards, if you're saying that the teachers are not even qualified to be teachers, are you really going to then go ahead and turn around and tell me that the training is adequate? Make it make sense. Getting flashbacks to the Bernstein report again. A senior person is designated to communicate and work effectively with all public school districts that place the students in the program. Rating implemented, response required, no. Again, you contradict yourself because you just said that there was no written policies in place that show the working relationship between a policing school district and the JRC. And now you're going to go ahead and turn around and tell me they're in constant communication. Like, we just fucking read this. This is 2 paragraphs ago. Hello. Moving forward here, and we're going to cut it short because I got a lot of videos to do and I really got to get my mouth to rest. Unless otherwise, daily instructional hours. 6.1. Unless otherwise approved by the Department of Education, the private education program provides an average annual minimum of the following instructional hours. Elementary, 5 hours per school day except for kindergarten. Secondary, 5.5 hours per school day. The private special education program ensures that unless a student's IEP or Section 504 accommodation plan provides otherwise, each elementary school student is scheduled for at least 900 hours of structured learning time a year. Each secondary school student is scheduled for at least 900 hours of structured learning time a year within the required school year schedule. Where the private education program operates separate middle schools, at the beginning of the school year, it is designated each one as either primary or secondary. Reading implemented, response no. At least it sounded like for a minute there they were going to address some issues about their lackluster education program, but then they turned around backwards to say, oh, but what we said isn't accurate. Legal Standards 6.1 Physical Education Requirements MGL Chapter Section 3. The private special education program should develop a curriculum to teach physical education as a required subject at all grade levels for all students for the purpose of promoting the physical well-being of students. Both physical education and health education classes are to be considered part of the student's structured learning time. And they're going to tell us implemented, response required, no. But remember, they also use physical exercise as an adversative. So tell me, are those students going to be so eager to participate once they're outside of school? Once they're out of this hellhole, do you really think that they're going to want to go and continue to exercise and have a healthy lifestyle outside of the school, considering that the school used it as punishment? And did so at such a young age that now exercise is now associated with punishment in their heads. Just saying. Where the private special education program counts independent study or a school to work program as structured learning time, it has guidelines that clearly explain how work spent by students are verified. Reading implemented, response required now. Okay, so let's wrap it up here. They are contradicting themselves here. See, we read through those findings, and what did they say? Inadequate training, not meeting state educational standards, nothing in place to implement interrelationships between the policing district and the JRC. Yeah. And then they're going to go ahead and then turn around and in the next 3 paragraphs contradict every single thing that they said that they found. They're going to tell them, no, they implemented, when it's like, fucker, you just said. Fucker, you just said. Seriously? It's the Bernstein report, folks, all over again. So, that confusing mess I'm going to go ahead and leave out for this morning and go on to the next vid. We don't get very many views on this channel, especially on this subject, and the few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So folks, please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this morning, and as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.